So we are here with you to talk about entrepreneurship. What piece of advice would you give college graduates who want to become entrepreneurs?
I think the most important piece of not really advice but a suggestion is that if you want to become successful in any definition that may be, you would need to have desire, right? And a lot of times you find people are happy with themselves. Nothing wrong. It's interesting to be just about happy with yourself. But if you don't have this desire to do the next and the next and the next, that is something that would take you away 100 years back, right? So I think it all starts with the desire to do something, want to do something, and the hunger to do something. If you were to translate this into, say, cities and villages, and I see this on a daily basis because I do work with a lot of students. When you go to villages, there is so much of hunger and desire because they want to all come out and try and be successful and be in these great cities and fly in good jets and stuff like that. Whereas when you come to cities, I'm not saying people here don't have that desire, some really do have, but on an average, people have seen it. People have good lives. Their quotient of desire sometimes is far less than what they want to do. And you would see this translate into leaders who come and take big offices. So for example, I would have rarely seen a chief minister come from a city. I would have rarely seen a prime minister come from a real city most of the time, right? They all come from smaller locations. That is this great desire and hunger to do something.
If you had the chance to start your career over again, what would you have done differently?
Yeah, I think I would, well, of course, there were a lot of things that in hindsight I would have tried to do right and maybe faster. But I think if I were to tell myself that if given this years back, what would you want to do? I would want to squeeze every second that I would have wasted, right? So I'll probably do the same thing again, right? And I was just talking to somebody, I said, if even in the next birth, if there is one, I'd want to do the same thing again. I enjoyed doing it. And probably I've not seen something else which is more enjoyable, so I really don't know. So I'll probably want to do the same thing again. But the thing that I would definitely want to do is to squeeze away every second of time that I would have wasted in the last 20 years, because when the time goes away, you realize that if there's anything important in life, it's only time. Yeah, that's what you don't have.
That's the biggest value.
Yeah.
What would you say are the top 3 skills to become a successful entrepreneur?
Well, you could talk about a lot of skills, but fundamentally, to become an entrepreneur, the first that you would and you should have is inquisitiveness. You should be always wanting to ask this question: how does this happen? Why does this happen? And that itself is half skill earned. The second is some form of enchantment, because it's very important in entrepreneurship that you're able to, in some way, be able to convince somebody who's sitting in front of you about something that you're trying to do or anything that you're trying to do. Some skill around enchantment. So I think inquisitiveness, enchantment, and finally, I think again I would go back to desire. I don't know if desire is a skill, but if that could be acquired in some way, I think somebody should probably train you to have that desire. So maybe desire.
Right. That is, of course, self-instilled. What entrepreneurial tricks have you discovered to keep you focused and productive in your day-to-day schedule?
No, so if you ask me, for me every day is a chaos, and I enjoy. I always believe that in chaos lies opportunity. So I come to office with an open mind, thinking that I'll do something new today. So I literally walk into a chaos, which is, of course, maybe not a good advice. But I think I really enjoy myself in there. So literally, there's nothing like you could do this better or you can do this or that better. If you want to be an entrepreneur, if you have the desire, you want to do something in life, you will find a way through it, right? It doesn't mean to say that, hey, you know what, as a leader, I organize my calendar very well. I've got a good secretary who or she ensures that my times are set. I eat my lunch at a great time, right time. I don't know, but I'm saying I simply go with the flow and enjoy doing what I'm doing on a daily basis.
In fact, that was my very next question. Is there a pattern or is there a formula?
I don't know. I don't love patterns, so maybe I don't like them, but I would simply like to come in the office and just give it a flow. Of course, having said that, when you're doing your businesses, you need to, of course, plan for a few things. But I'm saying generally, I just like to walk into chaos. Yeah.
But by the end of the day, do you bring peace to that chaos?
Yeah, of course. As any leader of any function, you should look at improvising it. So if you found something in chaos, there has to be a method in the madness, right? You don't create organizations or companies if you are not able to do this. I mean, of course you create, but you're not able to make them last longer. So there has to be improvisation in everything that you do, right? And that is something that I would want to aim for. If there's chaos in a function, we would want to make sure that this chaos never happens. Something else would come up, great. But this should not happen, right? So how do you improvise that? Yeah, to a level where, it's like the best.
Absolutely. What is your favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur?
Well, like I said, the favorite aspect and the fun part of it is the most important. You should like to do what you're doing. And I'm sure you would have heard this from just about a lot of people. But really, the fact is that you should simply enjoy yourself. So, and you enjoy yourself when you're trying to do something new. And people come up to me and say that, look, you know what, I've been doing the same thing last year. Right. But I tell them, why have you been doing it? Right. Have you improvised yourself? They don't have an answer because they've been doing 2 + 2 every time that you go. So I said, you are not likely to enjoy it because you are doing 2 + 2. Have you ever thought about doing it faster, better, sleeker, whatever, right? So I think you give me a small thing and I really enjoy picking it up and making sure that you try and make it the best, because there's no best. You can always keep improvising it. That's what great engineers are. That's what great scientists are, right? So yeah, but again, it comes back to maybe what you've been trained, what you've learned, or maybe again, simply how you're constructed. So maybe
Great. Well, thank you so much. I think that's been a very insightful, a different perspective to the same questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now, Anil, we'd like to know the person that you are, right? Away from your entrepreneurship, away from everything that you've been doing, we'd like to know the real you, right? So short answers, quick answers, fast answers. One thing you love about your job?
Fun part of it.
Favorite destination to travel to?
I would love to go to Alps. Kitzbühel is a beautiful place that I've been to. I would love to go back there.
Okay. Yeah. Favorite food?
Well, I like Chinese. I'm generally just about neutral, but yeah, I do like Chinese a lot. Indian Chinese.
Indian Chinese. Yeah, you have to be specific for that. True. A book that inspired you the most?
Well, I don't know the author, but there is this book of not smart thinking, but clear thinking. So I'm not getting that name, but what it says is, how do you make your thinking process very simple, right? So it's smart thinking or something. It makes your thinking process. So when I read that book, I realized that there's a lot of clutter in your mind, right? And you could probably just think through it and cut through it very, very simply. One example that I would want to give you is, for example, I read it somewhere, which says that the Apple founder, for example, what was his name? Steve Jobs. Now, he decided that he only wants to wear maybe a turtleneck, a black color pullover, right? Because he said every day in the morning, I get up and why do I want to take those decisions again and again? So he simplified his mind, he picked up something, you may call it whatever. So I'm saying ability to clear the clutter in your mind is an amazing thing for all of us to do, right? So if you're able to thinking clearly, if I'm not mistaken, that's the name of the book. If you're able to do that, you really are at peace with yourself.
True. Okay. Do you have a role model?
Well, I have a lot of role models. So if you look at organizations, Apple definitely is a role model. They do small things the best, if you look at people or maybe entrepreneurs, maybe to a large extent, maybe Steve Jobs, maybe even Elon Musk, the way that they think, both of them used to think differently. This guy, I wouldn't call Steve Jobs a visionary, but a great product guy, right? Because we're in products. But I would call Elon Musk maybe a visionary because what he's thinking is transformational, transforming lives, and which is a little different. Of course, all products do transform life in some ways or the other. But so maybe, I don't know. I do have a lot of these role models for some buckets that I've put for myself. Yeah.
Okay. Your most annoying habit?
Sometimes I do bite my nails, but annoying that there's definitely procrastination. I do kind of
do that.
Yeah, leave the decisions and drool it a little longer, which I shouldn't be doing. Yeah.
Has there been a movie you walked out of midway?
I don't know. I don't remember of any walking out. I've got a lot of patience, so I'll probably sit and finish it.
True. So the next section is I give you two options. You select one, and quick and fast.
All right. Let's try and do that. I speak a lot, so I don't know.
Of course. Twitter, Instagram.
Twitter.
Okay. LinkedIn or Facebook?
LinkedIn.
Cricket or football?
Football.
Physics or chemistry?
Physics.
Movies or music?
Movies.
Weights or cardio?
Cardio.
Okay. Books or Kindle?
Books.
Okay. Early morning or a late nighter?
Well, I am a late nighter, but I would prefer to be early morning, so late nighter anyway.
Okay. iOS or Android?
iOS.
Formals or casuals?
Both, actually, and they both have their own spaces, so I like both of them. I love formals, but I love casuals as well. Yeah.
Okay. The very last section, we'd like to understand you as a person at different stages of your life, right? So who or what was Anil Bhandari like when he was 18 years old?
Naive.
Okay. And by the time you got to 25?
I was kind of bubbling with energy.
Okay. And by the time you touched 30?
I had this great desire to do something really interesting because I thought I could go and crack it.
Right. Well, Anil, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. It's been great having this conversation.
Thank you, Roshan. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. Wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.
And I just hope that I've made some sense into the answers that I gave you for the questions that you asked me. So thanks.
Of course, our audience is definitely going to love this.
Lovely. Thank you.